Welcome. In this video, we're going to talk about presentation slide headers, the slide title, and why it's one of the most important elements on any presentation slide. And getting the slide header, the slide title right is one of the most important things for effective business communication, for effectively getting your points across. And this video is structured into 3 sections. We're first going to talk about what is a slide header, why is it so important. Then number 2, looking at a few examples, bad and also good examples, and what it really means having a very effective slide header when we talk about action titles, etc. And then lastly, going over a few examples where we're going to try out different action titles and we'll see what's the most effective. This is a bit of a reminder video for me where I've noticed recently that my slide titles, my slide headers have gotten worse, where I've been going back a little bit more towards descriptive titles, boring titles that are not very effective, that don't bring your point across. And so I hope this video is also effective and helpful, and you'll take some learnings out of it. First, I want to talk about the elements of a business presentation slide. At a high level, there's 2 big sections. At the top of a slide, there's the slide header, the slide title, and there's the body of the slide. An effective way to use those sections is to think of it as at the top, the slide header, the slide title should contain the message of the slide, the purpose. Like, what are you trying to bring across? What are you trying to tell your audience? And that should be in the title. And then the body, the slide, the content area should contain any evidence, information, logic, supporting evidence to support your point, to support your message. And that's why it's so crucial to get the title right. If it's not clear what your message is, it will make your slide really weak. If there's just stuff in the content area and the body of the slide, but it's not clear what your message is, that makes for a weaker slide overall. And here you can quickly see on the right-hand side, if you just read the title, it's pretty clear what the message is, what you want the audience to take away. We are the market leader in North America with 40% market share. And we're weaker in other markets and other geographies. And so without any data and additional information, it's clear what the message is. The message is we have a decent market share in the US. That's what you want to convey to the audience. While on the left-hand side, if you just look at the data, first of all, the audience needs to figure out what the message is. It's a little unclear because there could be multiple messages. And number 2, it's not clear what the message really is. So there's multiple messages and the audience needs to figure it out, which is not very effective if you want to get stuff done, if you want to move things along. It's way more effective telling people what you want them to take away. Because here in this situation could be the market share in North America. The message could also be the market share in Europe or in the rest of the world. Or it could be that the North America is 50-60% of the overall market. So there's a lot of messages here. And as the audience, it's unclear what the message is and what you want the audience to take away here. With any slide or any communication, you want to make it as easy as possible for readers, for listeners to get the point. Especially when you think about looking or reading, sitting in a presentation with 20 slides, 40 slides, it's really hard to digest it all. And so the easier it is to convey the message, the better. Now let's look at a few example slides. Here's a slide, which is a typical investor relations slide with a bunch of KPIs, revenue, growth rates, EBITDA, sales split by region, by segment, by geo, with a lot of data on it, which I think is first of all a good thing. But then the title only states key performance indicators and sales split. This is a perfect example of a descriptive title. It describes what you see on the slides. It describes the type of information you can see on the slide and the type of KPIs. So performance indicators and the sales split, sales by region, product, etc. But it doesn't tell you what the message of the slide is. It's a little unclear what the key insights are. Are the key messages, we have 12 billion in annual sales, and that's pretty impressive, and we've grown 4%? Or is the message related to the split of the sales here? PUR segment is almost half of sales, and the PCS is 28. There are a lot of potential messages on this slide. Slides like this can sometimes be fine if it's probably more of an appendix slide. Like, hey, we have all these additional KPIs in the appendix, you can have a look at it. But it's not very effective if you present this slide of what people should actually take away from this. Is this good? Is it bad? Why should I care? Similarly with this slide, analytic market landscape, which it looks like it shows the competitive landscape. This company, Alteryx, along a horizontal and then a vertical bucketing, and with a lot of different players and the categories. And the title just says analytic market landscape. Same situation, it's a descriptive title. It describes what you see on the slide, but it doesn't tell you the so what. It doesn't tell you what they're trying to tell us with this. Is the message that Alteryx plays along the horizontal, the automation maturity landscape? What about the vertical personas here, data scientist, citizen data scientist, and then knowledge worker? There is no so what on this slide. And so you would definitely need here the voiceover, or your audience would all take away different insights from this. And so in this situation, if the message is unclear, the audience has to guess, and it's not as effective as if the title was actually, if the title actually contained a message or an action title. The last example here, the title says, the most cited threats to economic growth continue to be policy and politics-related risks. Here I would say this is actually a good title. It tells you, based on the survey, among a variety of threats, economic growth and policy and politics-related risks are the ones people are most concerned. And that's also then when you look at the content area, what the chart, the survey respondents support. There's evidence on the slide supporting that statement, that message at the top. And that's basically what you're trying to aim for. Now we've looked at a few examples. Now what makes a good title? There are 3 areas. Number 1, succinct. Number 2, specific. And 3, insightful. So number 1, succinct. The shorter is always better, making sure that the message is concise and you're getting rid of any redundancies, any wording that is not really helping the message. In this example, our initial analysis shows that some of our prices seem to be cheaper than ours. All this initial analysis you can remove and simply say our competitors' prices are cheaper. Now, even better is to be more specific. So that's the second point. An okay example is the LED market has grown, but a better one would be to say by how much, in what time period. Is it more than others? For instance, the US LED market has grown 5% yearly in the past 3 years. Same with the first row example, our competitors' prices are cheaper. Even better would be to say by how much. Is it a lot? Has it changed recently? So being even more specific and using numbers in this example. The last one, insightful. This is specific to having a point of view or something new, adding something new to the conversation. Saying online sales are low is an insightful message. It's like, oh, interesting. Maybe that's news to some people. Adding a point of view and saying we should invest and increase our online sales could be even more effective. Could be even more effective in driving the conversation forward and coming to a decision. Now in our last section, I want to look at a few example slides and work through what could be a good title, slide header for this specific chart. So if helpful, feel free to pause this video for 30 seconds, a minute, and try to come up with a good title for this slide. Welcome back. Here on the right-hand side, I put down a few example titles. Number 1, global widget market share. I don't think that's a good title. This is exactly the descriptive title that a lot of people use, that I see a lot, and that are fairly ineffective. They describe what you see on the slide, the type of information, but they don't tell you what the message is and what the takeaway is of the slide. The second one is a little bit better. Company A is the market leader, so there's already a message here. So we're the market leader, that's better than being second or third. So there's a bit of a value judgment here. The third and fourth are even a tad better. So here we're more specific. We're using metrics, numbers. Company A leads with 40% market share. And then the last one, Company A leads in the US, could say about 40%, but is weaker in other geographies. So here it depends a little bit what the message is that you want to convey. It could be, hey, we're focusing on North America. So it could be more the North America point, or it could be comparing the different regions. That depends a little bit on what the question is you're trying to answer here and what the message is. Next example, here on this slide, you see the company revenue or the location-specific revenue and how that has grown, like the growth rate of those specific locations. Similar to the previous page, feel free to stop the video for 30 seconds, a minute, and come up with a few action titles, slide titles that would work for this one. Welcome back. Here on the right-hand side, you see a few example titles. The first two, again, are descriptive titles, company revenue growth. A better one would be 3 and 4. 60% of locations have increased their revenues. So that's like the 2/3 from the left. They've all seen growth rates, all seen growth and revenue growth over the past few years, while 30% or so have seen declines. Or the last one, location 1, has experienced significant growth over 40% yearly over the last 4 years. Here the question is again, what do you want to highlight? You want to highlight that the majority of locations have grown. Could even be a focus on the ones that haven't grown, where revenues have declined. Maybe this is a bit of a benchmarking exercise and learning what do some locations do better versus others, depending on what you want to share here. This is the end of the video. I hope this was helpful. Please let me know any thoughts, questions in the comment section, and I'll see you next time.